collapsed. Yeah, look at that.
Please like and subscribe right now. Otherwise, a cheetah might appear and give you a lick with its tongue. Just like cats and dogs, many animals have the habit of licking with their tongues. In this video, you will see how licking behavior can become a threat to humans. Have you ever seen a cat's tongue up close? Here's the surface of a cat's tongue. When I magnified it, I saw it's covered with white protrusions that look like spikes. These are commonly called filiform papillae, and they have an incredible amount of detail. That's why, when a cat licks human skin, it feels rough like sandpaper. By gently holding the tongue with a gloved hand, I can see the inside of the tongue that I normally can't see. Cats use this to groom their fur or nibble on their food bit by bit. Sometimes cat treats get stuck between the tongue protrusions, causing the cat to gag. It looks like the cat here is completely at ease. Usually, if a cat feels any discomfort or unfamiliar sensation, they run away or pull back. But this one trusts humans, so even if I tug lightly, it stays still. Seeing it close its eyes, it must really like the human touch. Maybe it feels relaxed as if it's being groomed. Somehow, you can really sense the profound trust between the cat and the person in this scene. I caught myself smiling. Have you ever felt a cat licking you? I just felt it for the first time not long ago. Here, a cat is licking a knit as if it's grooming. You can clearly see the cat's tongue protrusions getting caught on the knit threads. The cat keeps licking, seemingly drawn in by a yummy smell or just finding it fun. It stretches its neck and licks here and there diligently, pausing occasionally as if threads are getting stuck on the protrusions. This moment perfectly shows the filtering function unique to a cat's tongue. A dark gray cat is grooming its front paw. Then suddenly, it seems to notice something and stops grooming to look at the camera. It's zoning out with its tongue slightly sticking out. It looks at you for a while as if it's forgotten that its tongue is out.
Looking at its eyes, it's like a cat from an anime.
That's exactly how it looks to me, too. It's like it's deliberately sticking its tongue out to tease you, right? But why is a cat's tongue so rough? The protrusions on the surface of a cat's tongue allow it to do a lot of things. First, they act like a brush when grooming. They filter out dead fur and remove fleas or bugs from its body. Also, they help strip meat off bones in food. Meat is delicious after all. They also work like a straw. Because of capillary action, once liquid touches the tongue, it gets drawn up and stays briefly. Lastly, it helps regulate body temperature. By grooming and through the evaporation of saliva, they release up to a whopping 25% of their daily heat. Now let's move on to a bigger cat. It's a cheetah. The cheetah is lying down, purring, while licking a person's hand. In some way, it looks like an oversized house cat, doesn't it? The two of them seem pretty affectionate, but since a cheetah is a wild animal, it can behave unpredictably at any time. In this scene, they appear to have bonded well, looking very comfortable. The cheetah is showing friendly affection toward the person. Still, you know that to have a situation like this, experts or handlers must always follow safety rules, right? No matter how tame it seems, a cheetah is still a cheetah. Have you ever tried keeping a cheetah as a pet? Here is a cheetah that acts like a puppy. It sits right next to a person, almost like a cat sitting beside its owner. It licks their hand, rubs its head or side, and plays without hesitation. It's almost half lying down, touching each other's arms and licking them. I wonder if I could ever do that with a cheetah someday.
You are a pig, so you can't.
Be quiet. The tongue protrusions of big cats can actually hurt people because it feels like you're being scraped by sandpaper. But with big cats, not just house cats, they're also strong. In severe cases, you might even get injured. More frighteningly, with wild animals, you can't rule out infection risk. This is some animal hospital. The animal being examined is none other than a cheetah. One person is holding the cheetah's head, while another is pulling out its tongue. Up close, the tongue protrusions look even bigger and sharper. The area covered with protrusions is also much bigger compared to a cat. Here's a man getting a hairstyle from a cheetah. The cameraman is lying down filming, and the cheetah comes over to lick his hair softly. Receiving such affectionate behavior, does that mean it's accepting him as part of the group? It's touching, but also a bit scary. The people around them find it fascinating and laugh. Still, the cheetah doesn't look aggressive at all, like it's running on puppy software. The giant dog cat appears again. A woman is sitting in a park, and the cheetah is licking her entire body. Then suddenly, 2 more cheetahs appear. One of them starts licking the woman's knee and thigh. The woman laughs, saying it tickles, and interacts well with the cheetahs. This woman is getting a massage service from 2 cheetahs at once. Being curious cats, they probably keep licking her because they're intrigued by a new smell.
At this point, it seems like cheetahs are safe animals.
Then what about the king of cats, the tiger? Here's a tiger yawning with its huge mouth wide open. Its tongue is so long it touches the tip of its nose. And, as you'd expect from a cat, its tongue is full of protrusions. It's basically a supersized version of a cat's tongue protrusions. Its canine teeth are huge and sharp, so even when it yawns, there's a sense of intimidation.
Judging by its expression, it looks angry.
If tigers don't get enough sleep, they get irritable too. Then how about canines? Now a wolf appears. Unlike big cats, wolves don't have protrusions on their tongues, so if they lick you, it doesn't feel rough. They often lick as a show of affection or when they're curious. A wolf approaches the camera, sniffs around, and even licks a man's beard. It likes the handler, so it licks his entire face.
This handler doesn't even need to wash his face before work.
According to the handler, this friend is the youngest wolf, so it shows a lot of affection. Here's a living room in someone's home. A black dog is showing affection to a baby. It licks the baby's hands, face, eyes, nose, and mouth all over. The baby doesn't seem bothered at all. Unlike a cat's, a dog's tongue is relatively smooth and moist, so for the baby, it might just tickle or feel cool. Seeing scenes like this is such a cute moment that makes everyone happy. Felines have rough, sandpaper-like tongues. Such tongues are specialized mainly for grooming or feeding on prey, but canines' tongues are relatively smoother, and they mostly lick to show affection or to check out scents. Both lack sweat glands except on their paw pads, so they both use their tongues for temperature regulation as well. Have you ever encountered a wolf in the forest? There's a lone wolf wandering in a snowy forest here. It slowly comes up to a person, rubs up against them, and starts licking. But then more wolves suddenly appear. They also begin to show intense affection. They rub against the person, lick their face, and even climb onto their shoulders. It's like when my dog is excited to see me and jumps into my arms. It's rare for wolves to greet people like this, so be cautious. This is likely some special bond formed in a sanctuary or special setting. Have you ever seen a hummingbird's tongue? There's a small hummingbird here looking for a water container. You might think, isn't the water too far down? But at that moment, something darted in and out from the hummingbird's beak. It's the hummingbird's tongue. Its tongue is long and thin, so you can see it reach the water at the very bottom of the container, which is amazing. When did hummingbirds develop such tongues? There's a rescued baby hummingbird on a towel here. It moves a bit, making crying sounds as if waiting for something. Suddenly, a long white tongue comes out and goes back in an instant. When given water, it eats really well with a tongue as long as its beak. Maybe because it's tiny, but seeing it chirp and move its beak around is extra cute. So how about a chameleon, famous for its long tongue? There's a chameleon on a houseplant in someone's bathroom, but its colors look like something out of an art piece. It blends sky blue, light green, and orange in a striking way.
This is the most colorful chameleon I've ever seen.
It's like I'm seeing a mythical creature. The chameleon carefully climbs onto a man's hand and moves along. Usually, it only walks on branches, so being on the back of a hand makes it more tense. Chameleons can change their colors based on emotions or environment. Observing these color changes is part of the fun. Now there's a greenish chameleon in a corner of the house floor. It reacts when a person's hand approaches. At first, I thought it might get angry and darken its body color, but it still climbs onto the owner's hand. The owner wants to move the chameleon to a higher shelf or something similar, because chameleons feel safer in high places. They're less exposed to predators up there. You haven't seen its tongue yet, right? Look at this video. When you think of a chameleon, the first image is that long tongue hunting scene. It spots an insect climbing a wall. After rolling its eyes separately and aiming, it extends its tongue at just the right moment to snatch it up in an instant. There's a sticky substance on the tip of the tongue, so the insect has no chance to escape. The speed of that brief moment is incredible. In slow motion, it's like watching a nature documentary. Johannesburg Park in 2013. Here's a giraffe right in front of you. It's using its long tongue to eat leaves or snacks people hand to it. Its tongue moves freely like an elephant's trunk. A giraffe's tongue is known to be bluish-purple and usually 40 to 50 centimeters long. Since the giraffe's face is huge, you might be startled when its tongue suddenly slides over. But giraffes are gentle and docile, so it's not very dangerous to feed them. Try it when you go to the zoo. It's awesome. Have you seen a giraffe that starts a fight? Here's a giraffe swirling its tongue around in a strange way. It draws circles really flexibly, but it feels like it's teasing me. Maybe it's just wiping off saliva or bits of grass from its mouth. Here's a video that shows how precise a giraffe's tongue can be. The giraffe just flicks out its tongue to grab carrots or grass. Its tongue is so agile it practically works like a hand. In slow motion, you can clearly see how the giraffe wraps the food with the tip of its tongue and pulls it in. Thanks to this long, flexible tongue, it can reach high leaves when feeding. Another animal that comes to mind when we talk about tongues is the snake. Check out this close-up shot. It sticks its tongue out and waves it in all directions. This is how it detects chemical scents in the environment. And if you look closely, the tip of its tongue is split. That's so it can pick up scent information from both sides at the same time. A snake's tongue is a very important sensory organ for understanding its surroundings. The worse its eyesight, the more sensitive its tongue is for sensing the environment. Up close, it's a bit scary, but the mechanism is really amazing. Look at the snake's slow motion video here. You can see frame by frame how quickly it flicks and moves its tongue. This tongue, which looks kind of like a snail, moves up and down rapidly and then goes back into its mouth. This is the snake collecting molecules from the air and delivering them to the Jacobson's organ in its palate. That's how it checks if there are enemies or prey around, or what the temperature is. You shouldn't carelessly approach a brightly colored snake. Not always, but colorful snakes can sometimes be highly venomous. What would you do if a snake showed up in your house? There's a snake slithering across someone's blanket here. It keeps flicking its tongue, probably picking up a human scent. Judging by how they're calmly filming, it might be a pet snake. In some ways, it's cute, but imagining it on my bed is terrifying.
The snake also knows how comfortable human inventions can be.
Then, how sensitive is a snake's tongue? They say a snake can detect minute differences in chemical concentration with its tongue and figure out prey or predator location quite accurately. The tongue collects chemical substances and sends them to the Jacobson's organ in the roof of its mouth for scent analysis. Because of that, snakes rely heavily on their sense of smell rather than sight or hearing to hunt and perceive their surroundings. Snakes often swallow their food whole. Because they're specialized more for smell than taste, they don't really need to taste their food. In fact, it's said that snakes have almost no taste buds on their tongues. Interestingly, snakes can detect pheromones from other members of the same species with their tongues. This helps a lot with social behaviors, like finding mates or marking territory. Moreover, some studies have shown that if a snake's tongue is damaged, it can regenerate to some extent. For snakes, their tongue is practically a survival necessity, so maybe that's why they have that ability.